Good evening, everybody. Timed that perfectly on the dot, 7 p.m. here on Christmas Day, or Christmas night, so to speak. What's going on, guys? Let me know where you're watching from. Give me an audio check as well. Let me know if my audio sounds good to go. And once we have the okay, we'll go ahead and get underway with some updated information regarding this winter system incoming tonight into the day on Friday. What's up, Sue? We got Jennifer. We got a super chat already from Emily. Thank you, Emily, for that $5 super chat. Very joy to all. Thanks for keeping us safe, MSC. Thank you very much for your support there. Audio is good. Sound is good. You got Branch County, Lansing, Holland, Kimberly, Kay, Yvonne in chat here. We have a lot of people in here tonight. Let's go ahead and get started here. So, if you do not know what's going on with the weather, we are tracking a winter system that is moving in late tonight, but especially into the early morning hours on Friday, tomorrow. Freezing rain, some snow, as well as just some plain rain, some sleet will be possible for the entire state of Michigan, but certain areas will see certain different precipitation types. Let's go ahead and break this down and dive right on in here. Updated forecast model, hour by hour, with the future radar here on the short-term model. We are seeing precipitation up in the UP beginning as early as now, but likely the majority of it will hold off until a little bit later on, after midnight especially. Here's midnight tonight. This is in Eastern time. We do see precip ramping up there for the Western UP. Here's 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and by about 3 a.m., we're going to stop it right there. Precip continues up in the UP, but do take note that in Western Lower Michigan, we're already seeing some freezing rain there and some rain on the western half of the lower part of Michigan. So it could start pretty early, 2, 3 a.m. or so. Here's 4 a.m., pushes east, also starts to ramp up just a tad bit there. Moving into the 5 a.m. time frame, it starts to reach on the east side of the state over by Detroit, Ann Arbor, Flint areas, and by a 6 to 7 a.m. time frame, we are already seeing the entire state taken over by this system. That'll continue for several hours here into the morning on Friday. Here's 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m., and then it'll start to move out roughly right around 10 to about noon or so. And by the early afternoon hours, the east side over by Detroit up to the Thumb region is just the ones left with precipitation, and that should move out pretty quickly. By 3 p.m. or so, we are seeing a clear radar here in the state of Michigan. So, begins about midnight tonight or so. Could start earlier in some places, but ramps up about midnight, continues on to about 2 or 3 p.m. at the very latest on the east side of Michigan Friday afternoon. Going back here, we're tracking several different precip types with this system. I gotta back up. It changed on me here. There we go. This morning, or tomorrow morning, should I say, a wide area of freezing rain is expected from northern lower all the way down to the Indiana-Ohio border here. Plain rain expected from Kalamazoo to points westward. Temperatures down there will be too warm for freezing rain, but also got some sleet mixing in as well for portions of northern lower. And then obviously you got the blue up there indicating snow. It's going to be a ice cream sandwich, so to speak, of precip types out there throughout Friday morning. But it's important to talk about this because temperatures with this forecast are important. We'll get to that in just a second here. But overall, going into the forecast of what to expect for each different precip type, I thought I had this pulled up. I do not have it pulled up here. So we're going to go ahead and pull it up once again here. Bear with me. Snow over the next several hours here. We're going to see heaviest amounts across the very far northern portion of the UP. Also, some areas up by Mackinac, Alpena area will see some snow as well. Freezing rain is the main concern and main headline here, and that's probably the reason a lot of you guys are watching this video. The latest forecast models here have really started to ramp up the amount of freezing rain we're going to get. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to see it all stick to surfaces, but yesterday, this model I'm showing you was very dry. Today, it's turned and caved into a more wetter solution, which indicates that we're going to have a little bit more concern for some higher amounts of freezing rain. So let's break it down here. We do have probabilities as well as a little bit more realistic look into the amount of precip here. So while we could see a 1/2 inch to maybe 3/4 of an inch of freezing rain fall in certain areas, only a portion of that amount will actually stick and become weighted on power lines and trees and surfaces. So a more realistic look is something called FRAM here. On the HRRR model, we're seeing a wide area of about a tenth from Traverse City to about Alpena, not quite in Alpena, but just south of there, all the way south to about Mount Pleasant here, where it turns into about 2/10 of an inch of ice. And then there's a corridor being shown right along US 10 over toward I-96, I-69 from Port Huron to Flint of 3+10ths of an inch of ice that may try to stick to surfaces. Now, likely a little overdone, but not too overdone. So our concern is going to be primarily in that same region for a little bit localized higher amounts. Let's talk about probabilities here. The main headline with this event is travel impacts, and that is because just a glaze of ice can cause impacts to our roadways, sidewalks, overall travel in general. So on your screen currently is probabilities of a 100th of an inch of ice, a glaze of ice or more in the state of Michigan. As you can see, we are at 100%, almost 100% all across central and southern lower Michigan here. Other areas down by Kalamazoo, 50%. Grand Rapids at 70%. Gaylord up here about 60%. Odds are almost the entire state is going to see a glaze of ice from this event. That alone will cause some impacts to travel. That's pretty significant, being tomorrow is a day after Christmas. A lot of people on the roads. Weekend as well, just not a good time frame. Now, let's go up to a 1/10 of an inch. Probabilities of a 1/10 of an inch of ice or more based on latest model guidance here. We're seeing the highest corridor from yesterday's video has shifted just a little bit north. We're seeing a probability corridor of roughly 60% or so from about Mount Pleasant back through about Flint to about Port Huron. I'll go ahead and do this real quick because it's not really giving me. There you go. There's your probability. 60 to 70+% of a 1/10 of an inch of ice or more from Big Rapids, Mount Pleasant, through Saginaw, Flint, Imlay City areas, back through about Pontiac. Howell at 77% there, Ann Arbor at 68%, Adrian and Monroe 40% or so, Grand Rapids at 45%. So overall, a nice glaze to a nice coating of ice on power lines, on trees. It's likely. Now let's go to ice storm criteria. A 1/4 inch or higher. What are our probabilities with that? The answer is it is increased from yesterday. If you recall yesterday, we were looking at the Flint Waterford area, this general region by I-69, I-96, as a hotspot for perhaps higher amounts. Latest guidance has shifted that north, maybe a bit too far north, but it has increased probabilities here. We're closer to 50% or so in some areas, but low 40% here, 43, 44% of ice storm criteria for a wide area of central Michigan. This will be something to watch over the next 12 hours. If we see any shift to a colder solution, more confidence may increase that we could meet ice storm criteria in localized areas of the state. With that, anywhere that does reach a 1/4 inch of ice or more will have the best potential for minor tree damage as well as isolated power outages. Right now, we think, should I say, not me, but we think here at MSC, probabilities are just a tad bit too far north. We think the more realistic solution is somewhere probably Saginaw to Flint, maybe down here toward Pontiac, Waterford, over to Port Huron, the thumb region, along US 23 and I-69, I-96. This general region here is likely going to be the hot spot or the highest probability of seeing some higher ice accretion. Otherwise, if you're in the state of Michigan, the forecast is as follows here. We do have zoomed in maps today for you guys to look at. We are going with our forecast from this morning. It will be updated late tonight on the latest model data. Stay tuned for that. But these are localized graphics here we put on Patreon for our subscribers. We're going to use it today for the briefing. A nice coating of ice in that pinkish color, 0.05 to a 1/10, 0.10, for a wide area of the state, from Adrian, Monroe, Detroit, St. Clair, North Branch, Saginaw, through Mount Pleasant, back up toward Pentwater, Ludington areas. The corridor of the heaviest amount you see on your screen, up to a 1/4 inch of ice, seems to be centered right around Howell to Flint, maybe just a shift north of what we put it this morning. But overall, that's the area we're trying to keep a close eye on for potentially localized higher amounts of ice. Okay. Now that's your icing for lower Michigan here. Let's go ahead and talk other areas here in the state. Let's not forget our friends up north. The snowfall outlook here, 2 to 5 for a large portion of the medium blue areas. Dark blue by Sault Ste. Marie, 4 to 8 inches there. Trace to an inch in the white zone from about Marquette down to Escanaba. Gaylord at 1 to 3. And then the orange is the corridor. We could see the mix of sleet, freezing rain, and snow mixing in at times. So it's going to be a, like I said, ice cream sandwich of precipitation for some of you guys out there. The orange area is where we're going to see the most mixing. It could go from snow at times, could switch over to sleet, it could switch over to freezing rain. It's going to be kind of back and forth throughout the day. Overall, not a huge snow event, more so an ice and sleet event. Timing on the arrival of this system, 12 a.m. to 5 a.m. up in the western UP, as well as the western, very far western part of lower Michigan. Probably going to be a bit after 2, 3 a.m. we talked about before. So 12 a.m. might be a little bit too soon for the western lower part of Michigan, but some areas could sneak in to that closer to midnight time frame, depending on how the atmosphere takes place. Now, further east, center Michigan, Grand Rapids, Lansing, Cadillac, Traverse City, Grand Marais, 5 to 8 a.m. for your start time there. Over on further east side, Brighton, Flint, West Branch, Gaylord, Mackinac City, Sault Ste. Marie, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. for your arrival. And then if you're over in the Thumb region or up by Alpena, 8:30 a.m. to about noon would be the expected start time for you guys further to the east. So that is your expected arrival times. All the graphics I'm showing you are on our page. So if you miss it or want to go back and look at it, hop over to Facebook, take a scroll. All these graphics are posted over there. With the expectation of incoming snow, sleet, and ice, the Weather Service in all of Michigan, from Gaylord, Marquette, Detroit, North Indiana, Grand Rapids, we only have 2 counties in the state that are not in a winter weather advisory. That's Cass and Berrien. Otherwise, all 81 counties besides Berrien and Cass are in a winter weather advisory. Would not be shocked. A couple counties up by that Flint, Brighton, Oakland County area perhaps may see a shift to winter storm warning or perhaps ice storm warning if we get higher confidence in a little bit more ice. So takeaway, be aware tonight into tomorrow morning for upgrades to the advisory for localized areas, especially up by 69, 96, and US 23. Whew. That is most of what I have to say here. Looking at comments here as well. We do have travel maps out. We're going red across the areas of ice. It's going to be a slick one out there. If you're over in Kalamazoo, though, it's a little bit better. Grand Rapids as well, but you go north of Grand Rapids into Lansing, Jackson, Ann Arbor, Detroit, up to the Tri-Cities, you guys are having a little bit of a tougher time with the expectation of ice. Now, going up to northern Michigan, we do have a little bit better conditions up there. Still red in some areas, from Sheboygan up to Sault Ste. Marie, Nobbinaway areas, but overall, not too bad there. A lot of areas are yellow there. And then in the furthest UP part, we are going mostly yellow for the western UP. And then up by the Keweenaw, where snow is going to be heavier, Copper Harbor area, we are seeing a little bit more red up there. So traveling tomorrow, not the best idea with the expectation of the incoming ice, but it will be okay in some areas, localized areas. Okay. Takeaways from everything I just said. System begins late tonight, ramps up early Friday morning. All precip types, sleet, rain, snow, freezing rain, are likely, each with their own specific areas in the state. Highest impact and concern is difficult travel. Ice accretion will range from a glaze in some spots to as much as a quarter inch in other spots. We could see localized higher amounts possible. And the key word there is locally and possible. It takes 1 degree to make a shift. We have a warmer degree, we may have lesser amounts. 1 degree colder may have a little bit higher amounts. So it's a very fine line to walk. But overall, a glaze to a quarter inch is possible. Locally, higher amounts possible. In those localized areas that may exceed it or meet a quarter inch, localized power outages and minor tree damage will be possible as well. And lastly, stay tuned for adjustments that may happen last minute. The data coming out, I said this 2 days ago and yesterday as well, the data coming out in about 2 hours is going to be vital to this forecast. The 00 suite, we call it 00Z, is 7 p.m. in Zulu time. That data comes out here between 8 and 9 p.m. That is going to be highly, highly crucial to tomorrow's forecast. So stay tuned for updates. We may see upgrades to advisories. We may see shifts in highest expected totals. Just stay tuned. We'll have updates here on the page throughout the evening, especially tomorrow morning, probably very early tomorrow morning. But we're going to analyze things as they come in and plan accordingly. But with these winter ice systems, a lot can change very rapidly. So take that into consideration. Please stay tuned. Whether it's us, weather service, local news, stay tuned. We could see upgrades and shifts. All right. I am also, just as FYI here, I am sick. So I'm trying to catch my breath through all this. I think I got everything covered, though. One thing I will touch on, lastly, is we're tracking Sunday as well. Not for ice, not for freezing rain, should I say, but Sunday into Monday will be lake effect snow, but also a lot of rain for Michigan. So the UP gets snow. There is a corridor up in the UP, perhaps north and lower, of some mixing going on, freezing rain possible, not looking significant, but what is our concern with Sunday evening into Monday morning? The rain moves out and then snow moves in. But watch temperatures here. We're in the 50s across South Michigan here Sunday afternoon. And then all of a sudden we go to Sunday night into Monday morning. We're in the 20s. Wet roadways may freeze here depending on how long. Again, kind of similar to last time we had a gap between the rain and the cold air moving in. We may see another flash freeze type of situation here, all dependent on how much time there is to dry off between the rain and the freezing temperatures coming in. So Sunday into Monday morning, on your radar again, southern Michigan especially, may see another icing event with a flash freeze possible. We'll have more on that in the coming days. Right now, let's just focus in on tomorrow and get through that first. Okay, now I'm done. I'm going to turn over to comments here. Let's go ahead and see. I also just want to say Merry Christmas to you all as well. It's been an insane holiday. We had this on Thanksgiving. We had weather there. We had Christmas with weather here. The holidays are just rocking with weather, so we don't take a break. We're just rocking and rolling. All-wheel drive and good driving. All-wheel drive is not going to work on ice. Not at all. It might help you in snow, but not in ice. Michelle, winter technically has been underway since December 1st, meteorologically speaking, but astronomical winter began the 21st. So yeah, we're 4 days officially in the winter, but in terms of weather people, meteorologists, meteorological winter started December 1st. So we've been in it for about a month now. Watch party stream is not going to happen in Cyndaquil. Unfortunately not. That's not on the agenda tonight. Any questions at all, guys? I don't see anything too pressing about what's incoming. So if you have questions, now's the time. If you haven't commented before, have any questions, we try to get to as many as possible. We typically do not answer specific location questions. I can give you generalized guidance based on forecasts, but if you're asked about your town, I'm probably not going to answer that question just because we have hundreds and hundreds of towns in here, and I can't get to all the comments about those. So we're keep it broad here. Overall forecast, I can show you guys our forecast here. The main icing event's going to happen in South Central Lower Michigan, which is why I opted for this zoomed in look today. We'll have this updated here for Patreon members tonight as well. We'll have the latest update on the page ASAP just because it's a pressing event. It starts pretty much tonight into tomorrow morning, so information is going to be pushed out rapidly here over the next couple of hours. All right, I see some questions rolling in here. Let's take this off the screen here. Let's go back up. How long will it last? 5 a.m. will be the start time for a lot of us here in Central Michigan. Pull the time map there. There we go. There's your timing start time for this. 12 a.m. to 5 a.m. in the Western UP. 5 to 8 a.m. Central in the yellow zone there from Lansing to Grand Rapids, over to Cadillac, Traverse City, up into the UP near Munising. Over in Detroit area, up through Flint, Tri-Cities, 7 to 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Up into Thumb, 8:30 to noon is your start time. It'll be out of the state by 3 p.m. at the latest. I will go ahead and take this off. I'll go ahead and switch back over here to the forecast model here. And I'll go ahead and switch this over to our future radar. Excuse me. Here's your timing on the radar here. There is midnight tonight right here. As we move this in to Friday morning, here's 1, 2, 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 8 a.m., into the 9 a.m. time frame, 10, 11, here's noon, and then here is 1 p.m., 2 p.m. By that 3 p.m. hour, we should be clearing out across the state. Now, I will say as well, we may have to watch temperatures closely here as precip first begins because, like I said, 1 degree can make a huge difference. So some of this freezing rain may fall as sleet to begin with or to end the system. If we get more sleet than freezing rain, that will obviously cut in on totals. Don't be shocked, though, if we see some sleet mixing in there at times, any of us here in Michigan. 1 degree can make all of the difference. Temperatures during this time frame, I had it pulled up. There it is. I did not have it pulled up, actually. I was not prepared. I'm losing my mind here. There we go. There's temperatures. Throughout Friday morning, we are trending just a smidge colder, which is why we're also talking a little bit higher, localized higher amounts in ice. We're at 29, 28 degrees here, 30, 30, 30, 30, 31 or so. So we were looking at 32-ish degrees, 31 degrees at times. Now we're a few degrees cooler as the system moves in. The good news, though, as this moves out Friday, we do warm up to about 34 degrees in some spots. So if we do have ice accretion, we may melt some of it Friday evening, but especially on Saturday, we should melt quite a bit of it into the day on Saturday as temperatures warm back into the mid to upper 30s. So any ice that does stick on trees and roadways will melt Saturday afternoon. So luckily not a prolonged icing event. Georgia, thank you for becoming a EF0 member. Appreciate your support. See a Lions comment in here. Should have kept Ben Johnson. Well, I'm watching the game over here as well. It's 13-7. They're losing. So I will not comment on coaches, but we're struggling this year on the Lions. Ryan, do you think it's a good idea to stay somewhere that has a generator just in case? I do not expect widespread outages. So the short answer would be no. It's not impossible you're going to lose power. It's possible. But with this event, it does not scream significant icing event. So the odds that you keep power are much, much higher than you losing power. So no, I would say you are good to stay tight there, and I would not plan for the worst with this system. That's just me. If anybody is going to plan a little far ahead of themselves, if you guys are preppers or planners, again, pulling up this graphic here, I'm going to zoom in here to this corridor. We're talking from Owasso to Flint to Lapeer, down to about Waterford areas. That 69, 96, US 23 zone here, that would be the area that I would be a little bit more concerned for perhaps higher amounts. So if you live in that localized region, you guys, if you want to start prepping, not a bad idea. But again, this is not going to be a huge icing event. We're going to be multi-day outages, stuff like that. No. Outages should be pretty localized, and crews should be able to handle things pretty decently here over the next 24 to 36 hours. So if there are outages, we should have plenty of crews available to work on those. I also do want to say one more thing here about the probabilities as well. They do have probabilities that go higher than a 1/4 inch of ice. So for significant icing here, we're talking like a 1/2 inch. The probabilities that happens, switch this over to ice. There we go. There's a probabilities for a 1/2 inch of ice. We're less than 10%. The highest area up here by Mount Pleasant is 10% or so. Otherwise, we're looking at less than 8% for a lot of us. So the chances we get a significant icing event out of this, very low. Yeah, winds are something we can talk about here as well. Over the past couple of model runs from last night to now, we have seen a little bit of an uptick in our winds with this system. So that may play a factor as well. Looking at the wind gusts throughout Friday morning, system begins, we have 30 to 40 mile an hour gusts here. We actually do have a wind map going out, I think, at 8 p.m. tonight on the page. But I think we have a portion of northern lower in the UP in 30 to 40 mile an hour, as well as the thumb region in between 30 and 40. So with the wind combining, we may have a little bit more concern there if we get some bigger icing there. But wind can also play a factor in ice accretion. So these systems are very delicate. There's a lot of moving parts with it. So there's a lot to talk about, a lot to discern. But wind could be an issue for some localized areas, especially up there in the thumb region. I did see a couple super chats come in, as well as gift memberships. So I see Red gifting 10 memberships. I also saw Red, I believe, before with a $50 super chat. So Red, appreciate your support there. I'm going to see if I can't find it. There it is. Red says, greetings, everyone. So thank you, Red, for your generosity there and your support. Merry Christmas to you. Do I have any memberships to gift myself? I do not. Unfortunately, I will not have any gift memberships on MSC until January. So unfortunately, I can't join the party with gift giving, but appreciate you guys who are in chat here, getting memberships and supporting. Michael, good point there. There's a lot of stuff I'm missing. There's a lot going on here. I'm working solo today. General thunderstorms are also possible tomorrow. No severe weather. Don't freak out. But we do have a possibility of a rumble of thunder within the freezing rain corridor. There's a bit of instability up in the upper levels of the atmosphere. So don't be shocked if you have a rumble of thunder throughout the day tomorrow. Not out of the question. And to our south on Sunday, I believe, in Indiana, Illinois, back through Kentucky, there is actually a potential severe risk taking shape there, as temperatures off to our south are going to warm into the 60s and perhaps 70s. But for us, the very far south part of Michigan may be in the 50s and 60s, but overall, no severe weather expected for us here in the Michigan area. It's going to be to our south. All right, see you, Katie. Thanks for stopping in. I'm going to blow my nose here for a second, so I'm going to take myself off the screen and mute myself for 5 seconds. And I'm back before you know it. Any questions, guys? Feel free to chime in here. We'll be live for a few more minutes. Thunder ice. I mean, we can call it thunder ice. What's up, D? Good to see you in chat here tonight. How much ice in Ohio traveling to Virginia? Okay, good question. Expected ice amounts here should stop at the border, really. If you're going to Virginia, you should be okay. If you're going to the Turnpike in northern Ohio, you may have some issues there, but for the most part, your freezing rain is going to be missing Ohio. So you should have a clear drive down. There's your Ohio freezing rain there throughout the next 24, 36 hours or so. As you can see, clear sailing. The only real concern with out-of-state travel, Pennsylvania and the East Coast. Some snow as well as ice. Pennsylvania's getting a little bit more ice than we are. They actually have ice storm warnings in effect up there to our south and to our east there. So Pennsylvania, have travel plans through there. It is going to be a slick one over there too. We do have chasers who are going to be out and about throughout the day tomorrow at their own will. So I know Freddie's here in chat. I see him. I know Cody is probably going out as well. Clayton, I believe, is going out too. So we're going to have some chasers out there looking at ice accretion across the state. So also taking note with that, we're going to look for your... I got to slow down here. We're going to look for your reports as well. If you guys have ice accretion measurements or reports of tree damage or power lines or power outages, feel free to comment on our post or send us a message or use our reports group on Facebook, Michigan Weather Reports. Feel free to pop in there, make your own post, post it. It goes to us. We see it. We can look at it. We accept it. We post it. We like all your guys' reports. With tomorrow's system, it'll be very interesting to see how things shake up because, like I said, these winter systems, it could be a temperature degree difference of one either way. 32 versus 31 or 30 versus 31. it makes all the difference. So this could go either way. These are the forecasts that either go really good or they go really bad. So we'll see what happens. It was not a bad day out there. It's in the 30s for a lot of us, up north in the 20s. But no rain, no snow, no ice today. So clear travel, clear sailing. Any power outages will be localized in nature, isolated and localized in nature. We are not expecting widespread outages. This is not going to be a major crippling ice storm. It may be locally impactful in terms of power outages, and locally means one town could lose power because of a power line going down or a transformer blowing up, but the next town over is okay. But you go 50 miles south, we could have another town that deals with that issue. It's not going to be widespread, but it could be sporadic and localized. But again, that's only if we realize the higher amount with this system, which is possible. Yeah, Friday will be the worst of the travel impacts. By late Friday into Saturday especially, things will clear up for you guys. So if you have travel plans on Saturday, you should be okay. We'll have more information on Sunday evening into Monday's snow event. Lake effect snow is going to ramp up there for the UP especially. Accumulations are looking to be quite a lot in some spots. We're talking 8+ inches in some spots. But also Sunday night into Monday morning, temperatures are going to fall from the 50s back to the teens, perhaps 20s. And rain will be in the forecast as well. So another potential freezing event possible there. Not an ice storm, but a freezing event where temperatures will drop rapidly, freezing any wet surfaces, possible. Any last questions here before we wrap up? Go ahead and feel free to drop those in chat. Merry Christmas to you all. Happy holidays. I don't want to take up too much of your time here on Christmas Day night or Christmas Day Eve. We do not plan to be live tomorrow for coverage, but we might be live in the morning hours for updates regarding like changes to the forecast. So stay tuned for that. But generally speaking, we are not planning on doing coverage tomorrow with our chasers and Joel and I hosting. One last takeaway walkthrough here. Our icing forecast here. Heaviest amounts centered US 23, 69-96 corridor from Howell to Pontiac to Flint up to potentially towards Saginaw, North Branch, Lapeer areas. Upwards of a quarter inch of ice possible in that region. Could see locally higher amounts, closer to 3/10 possible. Elsewhere, a glaze upwards of a tenth, perhaps 2/10 of an inch of ice possible, if not likely with the system. Snow and sleet will be an issue as well, further north especially. UP gets 2 to 5 inches of snow locally by the Sault Ste. Marie area, 4 to 8 inches of snow there. The orange zone is going to be the mixing zone of sleet, freezing rain, and snow. Further south there in the green will be freezing rain, obviously. And then the timing of this event begins tonight, midnight, for the purple zone on the west part of Michigan, upwards of 5 a.m., 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. in the yellow zone from Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, Lansing, Cadillac, Traverse City areas. Over for the east side, Sault Ste. Marie, Gaylord, West Branch, Flint, and Detroit areas, 7 to 10 a.m. And if you're over there on the very far eastern part of Michigan, Alpena, in the Thumb region, 8:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. Chrissy, I'd be leaving early if you're going down there. If you wait, you'd be waiting until Saturday for a better shot. I would definitely leave early tomorrow morning. Looking at the takeaways from the briefing here. Begins late tonight. It ends Friday early p.m. All precip types are likely across the state for their specific areas. Some areas will get freezing rain mix with sleet. Southwest Michigan, Kalamazoo, point south and west will get rain. And if you're in the very far northern part of or the UP, should I say, Marquette, Sault Ste. Marie, Keweenaw Peninsula, snow should be your primary precipitation up there. Accretion of ice from a glaze to a quarter inch will be likely. Locally higher amounts possible in those localized areas that do get a little bit higher or meet the quarter inch of ice. Power outages and a little bit minor tree damage are possible, but those should be, again, localized, sporadic in nature. This is not a widespread ice storm at all. Stay tuned. Last minute updates and adjustments. Like I said before, I'll say it one more time. The data coming in tonight at, we're going to say 9 p.m. or so, is going to be vital to the overnight forecast for tomorrow. Any last minute changes, we could see upgrades to advisories, we could see shifting in the heavier totals, or we could see downgrades. So there are several moving factors with the system. The data coming in next hour and a half is going to be vital. All right, that is your takeaway. With that said, I do want to give a shout out to our sponsor of the day here at Michigan Storm Chasers, and also advertise if you guys happen to have tree damage from this icing event between now and Saturday morning, you need some tree care cleanup crews, we have sponsors and partners who would take care of you. Kuiper Tree Care is a spotlight sponsor of the day in West Michigan. 616-828-8225. They are based in West Michigan, and they will serve West Michigan areas. So feel free to get a hold of them if you need their services. Over on the east side of the state, we have McKay Tree Specialists in southeast Michigan especially. If you have tree needs there, feel free to get a hold of McKay. Those are the two main areas being impacted by this event that we have sponsors for. Other sponsors we have include StormGuard Roofing and Construction out of Detroit metro area, Katz Roofing and Siding out of Lansing area, Mike Hayes Roofing and Siding out of the Thumb region, On Top Roofing out of Livingston County, Top Gun Roofing in West Michigan, A-Class Construction Restoration in Mason County, Rainbow Restoration, Kent County, Guardian Technologies, our Skycam sponsor out of Burton, Rapid Radios for communication needs that we use at MSC, American Arbor, Southwest Michigan tree sponsor, Clear Plow Snow Pushers for a unique way to clear snow without breaking your back. Feel free to get a hold of Clear Plow. Apex Restoration out of Graham Blank. And lastly, feel free to donate to the Ronald McDonald House of Detroit. All these sponsors help us with operations here at MSC. We appreciate their support, and they're there for you guys in the event you happen to need services from them, like tomorrow. If you have tree damage from the ice, we have tree sponsors willing to take care of you. So feel free to get in touch with them or contact us, and we'll get you in touch with them directly. Any last questions here? Feel free to pipe them in. We'll be live for, we'll say, 2 more minutes, and we're going to hop out of here and enjoy the rest of our evening that is left. For those of you watching the Lions game, it is not looking too good. I see the score is 20-10 now, and looks like the Vikings have the ball, so it looks like we're going to be knocked out of the playoffs. So, I don't see more questions popping in here. I do see a super chat here from Eco, $5 super chat, says, if you need salt and snow services in KZoo, we're your guys. Thank you, Eco, for that $5 super chat. Appreciate your support there of the channel. All right. One more question here. I see a few more questions popping in here. Do you think traveling north of Flint, say Clio, maybe after 1 p.m. tomorrow, I would recommend against it, as things could turn downhill pretty quickly after the noon time frame for the entire state. Like I said earlier, on the west side of the Michigan, time map here, there we go. That 7 to 10 a.m. is your start time there in Clio area. I would be off the roads no later than 7 to 8 a.m. If you can, obviously. People have work and school and stuff they have to go to as well. If you can stay off the roads, do so tomorrow. And these are your start times. And again, all the graphics I shared on the briefing here are on the page as well throughout the day. So go to our page, scroll down, you'll find all these forecasts in written form and the graphic as well. So feel free to hop back over there and check that out. Do you think my family should cancel our Christmas party in Flint tomorrow? What time is it? It's really hard for me to sit behind a desk and say, yeah, cancel, because it's your family. It's a holiday season. But what I can tell you is we are expecting things to be quite slick out there, and things could be a sheet of ice on untreated surfaces. So main highways, if you can go main highways to get to your destinations, that's your best choice. But I would say from a weather standpoint, if you don't have to be on the roads tomorrow, don't. The only exception to areas that'll be okay to travel in is that far southwest corner of Michigan. So if you're over here, we're going to say if you're from Holland to Kalamazoo down to about Coldwater or live west or south of those locations, you guys have the best shot at seeing all rain and no ice in this event at all. So those areas should be okay to travel. Otherwise, if you're in any of the pink colored, aside from Holland, Kalamazoo, the light pink color there, I would definitely be off the roads tomorrow. Will salt work? The answer is yes. Temperatures are going to be well above 15 degrees tomorrow, so salt will be working just fine. So again, it's going to depend on how plows treat the roads. If we're pre-treated and we have active crews out there throughout the state, things may not be so bad. But with the icing, we're going to have icy roads for sure. It's going to be a matter of where, not if. All right, checking this one more time here. Is it possible there could be ice storm warnings declared tomorrow? Patrick, it is not out of the question. And I said it before in the stream, I'll say it one more time. The probabilities for that seem to be centered. If there's going to be any upgrades, I'll be watching Lapeer, Genesee, Oakland counties or around those areas. I'll be watching those counties in particular for a potential upgrade. And again, the data coming in tonight may determine that. Obviously, the Weather Service will issue those or determine or make decisions on those. But if we're going to see upgrades, they'll probably happen either at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. tonight, or perhaps 3 o'clock in the morning. That'll be the time you're going to see upgrades or shifts in the forecast. So stay tuned. And that's why I said in the last takeaway in the briefing, stay tuned very closely to last-minute adjustments there, the bottom point there. So that is going to be vital. But yeah, that's the region I'm looking at is Genesee, Lapeer, Oakland County, or around those regions. That'll be the area I would see potential upgrades. All right. Lisa, where are you at? You should be good to go, though, at 3 a.m. If you're on the east side, you're definitely good to go. On the west side, things start getting slick around that time, but you should be okay as long as you're out of the state a little after that. All right, I don't see any other questions here, so I'm going to wrap this stream up, and we're going to be... let's go live again tomorrow morning for a final update. The system will be underway, but if there's anything significant that's changed, I'll be live here in the morning hours to give you guys the update on that. If there are no changes with the forecast and it can just be suited with a post or a graphic, we'll do that instead. But if there's anything that's going on that requires me to go live, I'll give you guys the update tomorrow morning. So with that being said, I'm going to log in for the night, log off for the night, and let you guys get back to your Christmas Day Eves with your families. With that being said, stay tuned to the forecast, guys. We'll keep you guys updated on the page as well. With that being said, thanks for watching. Stay safe. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Let's get through tomorrow safe and sound. Hope we see you guys back here. We'll say Sunday or Saturday morning or evening for a briefing regarding Sunday's event. So with that being said, enjoy, guys. I'll stop rambling now.